Okay, we're going to go ahead and talk about the implode function. I'm going to paste some information here. Alright, so the implode function essentially is going to take an array and it's going to turn an array into a string for you. And what it means is that you're going to be able to separate each array item, though, by a pattern that you designate. Okay, and that's really useful because, you know, unless you're using a loop, well, even still, if you're using a loop, you still might want to use an implode function or something. But if you want to be able to access what's inside of an array and actually print it to the screen in some kind of useful way, you can't use printr all the time. Alright, so implode is a good one. Without actually learning how to use a loop, it's a good one because it'll take, like I said, it'll take the array out of the array. It'll put each item into a string, but each item will then be separated by pattern. So anyway, let's go ahead and show you how to write that. So you would do the implode function, which is what we have here, and then the first parameter that you're going to pass is going to be the pattern that you want to put in between each array item. And then you'll have a comma, and then you'll have the actual array that you want to affect. So let's use the strings array. And let's see, what do we want to put inside of it? Well, maybe you want to put a line break between each one. So what we'll do here is we'll do a line break for right now. Okay, so we're going to implode the strings array with a line break in between each item, and we're going to go ahead and echo that entire thing back. Now, let's just go ahead and save this. But before we do this, our other page is getting pretty busy, so I'm going to go ahead and comment all the rest of this stuff out for right now using the block comment, the multi-line comment, just so that we can stop having to look at all those other things. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. We're going to go back to our Firefox, see, because otherwise it would have to be way down at the bottom. We're going to hit refresh. Okay, and you see what it does is it's putting the dog break, cat break, bird break, etc. into a single string that it then prints to the browser. So if we go to view page source, you'll see here the way it did it, okay? And this is kind of a mess, actually. And you see that it does dog break, cat break, blah, 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 and it sticks it all in one line, okay? Well, if you want to be a little bit tidier about how you do that, let's go back to Dreamweaver. And what you could do is you could go ahead and stick what is called a new line character, and it's an escape n. And what it's going to do is this means new line, and it means it's going to drop it down to a new line. And this isn't something that HTML reads. This is something that the browser that your computer is going to read. It's a special command, sort of like having a carriage return, but anyway, this is the new line symbol. Save it. Go back to Firefox. Refresh. Well, it looks the same, but let's go up to view page source. And this is a lot tidier in terms of, you know, what's going to print out to the screen. Okay, but I want to show you something else that could be a mistake that you could make with that. Let's go back to Dreamweaver and let's look at these double quotes. Remember, double quotes will allow programming things to happen inside of them. Okay, and this escape n character, it's a little bit misleading because I know I've told you this is an escape character, but this combination right here is actually a special programming character, okay? And what it means is new line. Every time you do a tab or a new line or a carriage return, when you hit a return key, tab key, and so forth, it actually is sending a very special symbol to your computer that tells it to do that, and it's sort of like a very deep down in the system kind of thing, and basically this is the character representation of it. So this is one of the exceptions to an escaped character, okay? So if you have that in double quotes, it's going to read the new line thing just fine. Let's see what happens though if we put this in single quotes. Remember, single quotes will read stuff literally. So I'm going to save that. Well, it reads that as literal text. So if I go back to Firefox and I hit refresh, you see what it does is it does this really funky thing. In fact, if we go and refresh here, it does this weird, \n thing. Okay, so let's undo what we just did. But I just wanted to point that out to you, that anytime you're passing these pattern expressions here, that you need to be very aware that they actually still take the same rules as the normal double quotes versus single quotes directives. Let's go ahead and save that, and we'll get rid of this ugliness on the screen, and we should be good. Okay, so just to be really explicit, show you something different. You could do the comma and space, and just save that, and we'll go back to Firefox, do a refresh. So you can list out your stuff this way, and so on and so forth. Okay, now you might be wondering, I don't know if this gets you thinking about stuff. You might be wondering, like, well, how could I put something in a list item? Well, you're going to need to use a loop to do that. And when we get to loops, you'll see how the implode function and you'll see how the implode and the explode functions can be extraordinarily useful. Okay, but this is going to sort of end the implode demonstration right now.